what is the retirement alpha? What does that mean for you?
Yeah,
And what are mortality credits and how can that help my viewers and clients today? Just understanding that term and how it benefits
absolutely.
them in retirement.
Yeah, Denzel, I gotta be honest, you triggered me, man. This is my favorite topic to talk about, and I will argue that if you have not read this white paper by Tom Hegna, it is not going to be easy to have an optimal retirement. Now, what does optimal mean, right? Tom talks in this book about there's no such thing as best. There's only optimal, meaning it's going to be right more times than it's wrong, and mathematically, it's going to be the best choice for you, right? And so, what this book talks about is this secret sauce that insurance companies manufacture that no other industry has, and it's called a mortality credit. And what the way you get mortality credits is through two products: annuities and life insurance. And let's talk about this for a second, okay? How can a 25-year-old send a $30 check to an insurance company? They get hit by a bus, and that insurance company is going to turn around and pay $1 million. How is that business profitable? It's because they have actuaries who are basically like the engineers of insurance that know how to pool risk among millions of people and distribute that risk so that they're able to insure that rare person that passes away at 25. That is a mortality credit. All the people that pay premiums on their term policies that don't die create a mortality credit that the insurance company can now pass through and remove the risk from an individual. So let's talk about this for a second, right? All it is a transfer of risk. As individuals, we have risks, and we can mitigate those risks to certain levels. But there's certain ways through insurance that you can transfer risk to entities that are built to manage risk. Another example of that would be your home, okay? If your home burnt down, that would be a huge risk.
Yeah.
But no American has a savings account where they're trying to save $1 million in case their home burns down. That's crazy. You would never do that. You just buy the insurance for $5 a month on your homeowner's policy, because that all goes into a pool, and they know mathematically and statistically not that many homes burn down. But for the people that unfortunately have that experience, they're able to have their back and step up and guarantee that they're going to get that. Right now, that's not a mortality credit. That's a different form of insurance. Let's take
Correct.
it back to mortality credits specifically for retirement. Let's talk about the lifetime income annuity for a second. Okay. What's cool about the lifetime income annuity is it pays you your principal, it pays you interest, and it pays you a mortality credit. A mortality credit is extra money the company didn't need to help make sure that you as an individual do not run out of money. Even if your money's gone, and this is so hard for people to understand, Denzel. I get this question. I have clients that have been with me for 13 years, and every year I tell them over and over, when this runs out, you're good. And every year they call me, they go, I'm going to run out of money. I'm like, it's okay. That's the design. You're going to get the
Yeah.
income will never stop. And they go, well, how? I don't get it. Well, if you're an individual and you have $100,000 in a bank account, when it runs out, it stops. It's
Done.
just you. There's risk. When you're an insurance company with billions of dollars and people paying premiums and they're taking in money, they are able to make sure that when someone's money runs out, they can keep it moving forward. And that's how they're able to pay mortality credit. Tom Hegna tells a brilliant story in this book that I think just illustrates it perfectly. Okay. Say you have five 90-year-old women. Okay. And they all say, let's play a fun game. Let's put $100 in this cardboard box. We'll tape up the box. A year later, we'll get together. We'll go on a little trip. Whoever's alive will open the box and split the money. Okay. Now, one lady passes away during the year. So now there's four women that are going to split $500. That's a 25% return on money. Now, the box didn't earn any money. It didn't create any value. It did nothing to earn any money. How did they get a 25% return on their money? That's the mortality credit. One lady was not there to realize the payments. She passed away.
Mhm.
So her mortality credits transferred to the people that lived on. And so a mortality credit is really the magic that insurance companies provide. And what's really unique, Denzel, is if you walk into a bank and you look at their CDs, they don't pay different rates based on your age. It doesn't matter if you're 30 years old or 90 years old. If the CD pays 5%, everybody's getting 5%. Now
Right.
they may have tiers based on contributions, and they may have banding where, like, if you put in 250,000, you might get a little bonus on your rate, but it's not based on age. Lifetime income annuities pay more the older you are. So the older you are, the closer you are to your mortality. So they know mathematically we need to accelerate more money to this person faster.
Right.
And that mortality credit can be powerful. And that's why we've been doing so much work trying to sound the alarm bells on interest rates, because interest rates play a role in how much they can pay. And while interest rates are high, this is the opportunity to lock in higher interest and mortality credits for the rest of your life. Because if interest rates come back down and you're using bank products, and again, I'm not bashing bank products. They have a purpose. They're
Right.
great, and they're part of a well-balanced, situation for somebody who's looking for safety. But in this case, if you're looking for cash flow for retirement, the lifetime income annuity significantly rivals the bank CD if the purpose is to make sure you have enough lifetime income forever. Let me give you an example. He tells a story in this, and what I love about Retirement Alpha is it's not an opinion paper. This isn't Tom's view on this. This thing is loaded with all of the other white papers that he borrowed information from, the Financial Research Institute of Boston, Dr. David Babel, Dr. Moshe Molesky, and Menachem Yomri. These are some of the world's most brilliant economists that have been studying lifetime income for over 60 years. These are PhDs, these are physicists, economists. Everything in here comes from a mathematically backed scientific fact that he went out and researched. And so
Yeah,
what he proves,
not salespeople pushing a product.
exactly, right? Like I can't stand sales literature, marketing material. That's not a good place to get education. You're going to get
Right.
slanted and pulled into a funnel, right?
Yeah.
Tom doesn't sell anything. He doesn't sell products. He doesn't care. He's an economist. He's just trying to get the right information out. And there's a lot of misinformation about lifetime income. But, let me give you an example where this is really powerful for somebody, okay? And I just got into an argument with somebody on YouTube, and I've been battling with them in the comments for days, and it's driving me nuts because I did this video about a 90-year-old purchasing a lifetime income annuity. And
Okay.
he's like, oh, what a scam. Why would you ever do that? What a ripoff. Why not just get a CD? Well, because here's what he doesn't understand. This 90-year-old lady needs as much cash flow as she can possibly get.
Right.
And she has her money in a bank CD. She's going to get 4 or 5%. That's pretty good.
But no
Okay.
liquidity.
But no liquidity, and the cash flow is just not really there. It's like 4 or 5% is not going to move the needle for her. It's just not. She can take that same money to a lifetime income annuity at any insurance company, and she's going to receive somewhere between about an 18 to 20% payout for life. Now, if you're her kids and you're looking at mom's portfolio dwindling, would you rather have a banker come along and sell her a CD? Nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a good, it's safe. Or would you rather have an insurance agent come along and say, hey, you know what? We're going to guarantee mom's not going to run out of money. That's the power of the lifetime income annuity. And that's the difference, right? It's a different it's a different need, and it solves for a different risk. And that's what it's for. Now, it's not really only for 90-year-olds, right? There's people that are entering retirement who have a very scary prospect they're looking at of 30, 40 years of no income. How do they know that cash flow is going to be there for them when they're not in their more entrepreneurial, higher earning type phase?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're aging, getting into their 70s and 80s. How do they know that income is going to last? Right. That's what the lifetime income annuity does. That's why insurance companies provide mortality credits to protect people from running out of money. It's a pension, essentially.
Right. I'd love to transition, if possible, taking that, understanding that, okay, this is not just for 90-year-olds.
Sure.
I'm dealing with an individual right now that is facing that potential problem of, we're talking 30, almost 40 years of income we don't know where it's going to come from, right? Outside of this person having to continue to work well into their 60s and beyond. Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of people like this person on the board, so I want to take it to the whiteboard, give you the numbers real quick.
Take it to the board.
So I'm dealing with an individual. They make about $2,000 a month right now. Okay. And she is a 50 years old, single, no kids, has no debt, right? So everything's completely paid off. I want to say her home condo's worth about maybe $250. And then this is just what she has in terms of assets, right? So we have $287,000 in a CD that just expired. She was earning 6.25% on that.
Nice.
She's got an IRA, 19 grand, checking 24K, savings 20K, a REIT for $20,000, and we're looking at cash flow of about $479. Her goals: she wants to build a YouTube channel, which I've been helping her on. and
Awesome.
she wants to be able to create passive income. She wants to do God's will for her life. One of those areas is Jewish evangelism, right? Really
Awesome.
educating the Jewish culture about Jesus Christ and how, he's his authority as, the Son of Man in that regard, Son of God, and
Very cool.
ultimately create financial security, right? And then
That's
there's
awesome.
also the desire that she wants to be able to travel, and we know that costs money, and that if she travels, she's not working. So her dilemma is like, I want to be able to travel, I want to be able to, do YouTube and teach and educate, but I feel trapped at my job because if I stop working, all I have is this money right here, and I know this will, can run out
Yep.
relatively quickly. So just, very quickly, right? I know that you
Yeah.
have an entire process when you work
Right.
with clients, but
Yeah.
what are some thoughts just looking at this, or
Sure.
say questions that you would be interested in knowing more of to help this person create that sort of security to replace that 2,000 bucks, knowing that, if we can build a YouTube channel and get it
Yeah.
monetized to
Yep.
create some level of activity income that can become
Hmm.
passive, I feel like
Hmm.
that can produce a couple $100 there for
Yeah.
sure. But definitely would take a good amount of years to, completely replace the income. And even then, it's not guaranteed, right?
Right.
So
Right.
understanding like how to create a level of guaranteed income, this our current cost of living at 1,500, and obviously with cost of living increase at like 4% over a
Yeah.
10-year period, that could easily become like 2,000, or more, right?
Yep.
And I know ideally she wants to retire in about 10, 12 years. That's the goal.
Yeah. You know what, Denzel? This is amazing. First of all, I want to meet this woman because, you know, speaking to the Jewish community about Jesus is like right up my alley. My dad's Jewish, my mom was Catholic, and I got to witness my dad come to Jesus and come to follow Christ, and so he's a Jew for Jesus, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But so I'd love to meet her just personally, just so you know, we can talk about that later, and I'd love to get aligned with her mission. I think that's really cool, and
Hmm.
I love the Jewish community and the Christian community, so I think that'd be a place I want to serve too. But for her, she's got a very classic scenario, right? Look at where she's at. Why is the bulk of her assets in a CD?
Right.
For
So
safety,
safety,
right?
correct.
That's it. It's
She
safety.
clearly is not a gambler, a
Right.
risk taker. She's
Right.
like, I know I want to do this, and
Yes.
I've got this money here. And
Yeah.
she's been able to build that in her career, which was in fashion, I believe a little bit in real estate.
Yep.
And I've been talking to a lot of folks that this is men and women,
Yep.
but I want to say it predominantly happens with women. We approach the 50s and 60s, and there's this tremendous amount of fear on the amount of money they have. And they think because of all the stuff we see online, they think they have to take all this risk to make the money they think they need to
Yeah.
secure retirement.
Yeah.
And it creates so much anxiety because they're like, hey, I have this amount of money. I don't want to lose it, but it seems like I have to take massive risk or leverage to get there. And I feel like there's a happy medium where we can achieve the same result and yet still understand what we fully need in retirement and how it's gonna, last fully out. So yeah.
Yep. Okay. Man, I'm taking notes because there's so much. Okay.
Want
So
me to
first
take
of
it back?
all, yeah. First of all, okay, she's still working. Oh my gosh,
Correct.
this Denzel. Thank you for putting this together. So here's the thing: there's pre-retirement risks and post-retirement risks. You and I have spent a lot of time talking about the post-retirement risks.
Yeah.
Okay, so she has different risks entering retirement. Big ones would be losing your job, right? Becoming disabled. Those are big ones, right? There's other ones, but those are big. um, the other thing is, I'm assuming that she's got the health insurance thing covered. Like that 2,000 a month means she's got her health insurance covered somehow, some way with her job.
Correct. She is. Yeah.
Okay, so there's that, right? We got health insurance to deal with, but that has become, unfortunately, one of the biggest barriers to entering retirement is how to handle health insurance. She
Mhm.
wants to retire in 10 years, which means she's 5 years away from Medicare. So I definitely think sitting down with a licensed health insurance professional would be important to strategize on how she's going to build that bridge. because that amount of income she could need would be substantial. I mean, she could be looking at potentially as much as $1,000 a month. Again, I don't know her state, or there's all kinds of things, but
Yeah,
and I'm not that professional, right? We have those professionals on our team that would do that analysis, but
yeah.
I
So
think
we're in
being
Florida.
cognizant of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
Florida. Okay, sorry, you might have mentioned that. Um, so that's a big one. The other big one is sitting down with, and we had a long conversation with this, sitting down with the right tax professional, because as you help her step into her entrepreneurial journey, getting her taxes dialed in and what that's going to have as an impact for her is going to be crucial. And here's why. She's a single filer. She's that is that income W-2, Denzel? Did you mention that?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
W-2 income.
That's W-2 income, right? Which obviously we know is like the least favorable taxable income there is, almost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important. And there may be opportunities for her to improve cash flow and retirement savings just by looking at the taxes. So when we look at cash flow and retirement income, future retirement income, we're looking at how can we increase income? How can we decrease liabilities? Those are the two levers. That's all we have. There is nothing else. You either create income or you remove obligation. That's it. It's very simple. Creating income is difficult, right? She's trying to
Correct.
do it with the REIT. That's why
Yeah,
people buy those. There's
yeah,
growth
YouTube. Yeah,
potential and there's income. There's the YouTube channel. She's trying to do that, but like you said, it's not guaranteed.
correct.
So creating income can be a difficult prospect for people. There's risk there. Paying down debt is essentially a guaranteed way to increase your cash flow because
Which she's
you get to
done.
control that,
Mm-hmm.
right? She has no debt, so that's not the issue.
Right.
But I would argue that taxes can act like a form of debt. It's a cost, right? Now,
Correct.
we have to do it. So taxes would be where I would focus with her, not me. I'd bring a CPA in and say, what can we do to create the right strategy so that as you build your channel, you're at least getting the tax benefits that entrepreneurs get for starting a business, and it'll have a positive impact on your net savings, which of course will lead to more retirement savings or more contribution to the business, right?
Yeah.
That's important. Now let's talk specifics about what she has. Okay. She's got this bank CD, which is interesting. So whatever that CD earns is how she's going to be able to build for retirement income.
Okay.
And we just talked about, we are now in a declining interest rate environment for the first time in a while. We're seeing that interest rate start to slowly drop, which is exciting in other areas, not so exciting for the CD saver. They're feeling some
Correct.
anxiety, right? Because
Yeah,
now they're starting to see that race to the bottom again.
mm-hmm.
It was only,
It has expired, right? The
yeah,
CD just expired, like literally
yeah.
like a week ago.
What's the new rate?
So it was 6.25% on the
Yeah,
6-month CD, and now
right.
she's like, "Do I throw it in another one? It's at a lesser rate now, like 5.5, I think, something like
Exactly.
that." Or what can I do with it, Denzel? That's kind of
Dude,
like where we left off.
let's talk about that. 6.25 to 5.5 in 6 months. She just lost 10% of her income in 6 months.
Yeah.
That is dangerous. Inflation is not fixed, and it's not going to be, it's never going away. Things are going to get more expensive over the rest of her retirement. She's got a long way to go. That is a massive drop. That's scary. That's why she's feeling anxiety. Now, people don't look at it like that. They just look at, 5.5, what a great rate. That's still a great rate. But this is the problem in a declining interest rate environment for CD savers. It creates interest rate risk. She's now subject, the bulk of her portfolio, which is that CD, she's got almost $300,000 in it compared to everything else. That's by far the bulk of her investable net worth. That has risk. Even though it's safe, she's losing purchasing power, which is the whole point of retirement, to gain cash flow and purchasing power. So, I mean, with your income. So I would look at that CD and I would say, okay, is there an opportunity, if she's going to retire in 10 years, to potentially take a portion of that CD, okay, and put it into a lifetime income annuity that has a deferral with a lifetime income rider? There's several reasons for that, Denzel. Let me just give you two. Number one, what is 6.25 of 287? Let me tell you what that is real quick. Okay. And we could do the whole thing real quick, but 287,
17,
okay.
1,800 bucks.
18 grand essentially, right?
Yeah.
She's creating an extra $18,000 of taxable income as a under 65 single filer. Why would you want to pay extra income tax? That's a lot of that's almost her income. She's getting 24 grand a year from wages. Then her banker is stacking an extra 18 grand on top of her, definitely moving her into a new bracket. So why would you do that? right? Why not use tax deferral during these accumulation years? And then when she enters retirement, be able to exercise that income in a lower tax environment. Now, there could be an argument made saying that, hey, you're helping her start a business. If
Yep.
that reduces her taxes, that could also offset the CD. That's fine. But here's the thing, you can go to a lot of insurance companies right now. You can go get a 10-year roll up that the company will give you a guarantee of. And a roll up is not an interest rate. She's earning an interest rate. She's getting 5.5% if she renews it. She can take that 5.5 off the top, keep her principal intact. That's awesome. People love that. A roll up is not the same thing. A roll up is like what happens with your Social Security, which, by the way, is something I really want to know what hers looks like. That's a big one.
Yeah.
But a roll up is saying, this is how I best describe a roll up. And this is not it, but this is the best way to explain it that I found. When you're 62, your Social Security is a certain number. From 62 to 66, it grows by approximately 6 to then 7%, meaning the amount that they pay out grows by 6 to 7. It's not like an interest rate where you can go to Social Security and go, oh, give me my 6% interest and you just keep my Social Security money. It's a roll up. It's increasing the future lifetime income. That's what a roll up is. From 66 or full retirement age to 70, it's almost closer to 8%, and then it does get to 8%. You can go to a lifetime income annuity and say, I want to get an 8% or 7% or whatever roll up. So for the next 10 years, let's say she puts in $100,000 and has a 7% roll up. What's going to happen is her $100,000 is going to get a compound 7% roll up. And at age 60, she can now activate the lifetime income. The roll up will stop and she will start getting a distribution, just like Retirement Alpha talks about, paying mortality credits for the rest of her life at a payout rate that's based on her now 10-year older age. So we'd have to run illustrations to see what that would really look like. But just from running enough of them, I could pretty much tell you that payment's going to be around $10,000 a year. Okay.
Gotcha.
So what that means is she can take a third of her portfolio out and basically have an insurance company go ahead and give her a guarantee that she can take out 10% of that money for the rest of her life.
Starting at age 60.
Starting at age 60.
And this
If
is
she lives to
this is a
95,
healthy woman, you know?
yeah,
So,
she's a healthy woman. So she could live to be a centurion. I mean, that could be 40 years of income, right?
that's
So
insane.
there's a great book called Tax-Free Income for Life written by David McKnight. I always recommend it to everybody. And it does such a brilliant job of explaining how retirement can be a very expensive prospect when you're using the entire CD to retire. Why not just carve off a portion of that CD? Let that be your future cash flow. And then now that liberates that CD to be liquid in case she needed to put money into her business.
Correct.
It allows her to do things. Now, she's 50. If she were to access that annuity before 60 and the real age is 59 and a half, there'd be a penalty because you don't get tax deferral without a penalty for early withdrawal.
Right.
So while she picks up that benefit, now she also has a pretty compelling negative that a lot of people would argue. But again, it comes down to being intentional with what the money's for. Is she realistically going to use that $100,000 in the next 10 years? Or will her checking, savings, and CD be enough liquidity and her income to suffice?
Exactly.
So
this is a woman that does not splurge. She's obviously, managing pretty well on just $2,000 a month and still cash flow positive, about $479. And as we mentioned, she's got 20 grand in savings. That's roughly 6 to 9 months plus in reserves, and then checking, and she got the IRA and the REIT. So these other things that we can pull from, and it's not like we're saying, roll over all 287 of that into the annuity. We're not saying that. You just looked at just a third, 100 grand, which creates that, activates income at 10,000 per year, and if she lives to be 100, that's $400,000 in income. That's 4x your money. It's not bad at all.
No.
Minus taxes,
so
of course.
I would talk to her about, would that be a potential? She doesn't have any kids. So at 62, we'd probably bring in the right mortgage professional to talk about how to use home equity wisely and boost cash flow from a tax-free perspective there. The other thing that I love about that type of strategy is that could end up being her fallback for long-term care. So rather than her needing to go out and buy an expensive long-term care policy, which will actually lower cash flow, she could just use the equity in her home tax-free, remain in the home, stay comfortable, and just let her home pay for her care. A lot of people are doing that now, and they love that strategy. So there's so much here for her. Like there's so much that we could do. That's really exciting. But you were right to identify this white paper in the beginning because this is speaking to her, right? They do a great case study of CDs versus lifetime income annuities for cash flow in this white paper, and it really could potentially offer some significant benefits if her goal is to protect her cash flow for retirement.
Beautiful. And with that, we'll close out here. Thank you for your time, Daniel. Appreciate the help. For those that want to take the next step forward, click the link below or in the comments or somewhere on the video here to get a hold of Daniel and his team to discuss this mathematical play, creating guaranteed lifetime income, being able to fulfill your purpose in retirement. It might change, right? When we transition from working a 40, 50-hour job into not working, and what does that next stage of life looks like? Being able to have conversations with Dan and his team, it's not just the money part, but we're also discussing the faith component, the spiritual, just the purpose, the dreams, vision, kind of mapping out that whole thing. So thank you, appreciate you, and all of my clients that have gone to you so far are really excited, and we're doing a lot of really cool work. So thank you for that as well.
Thanks so much, Denzel. It's an honor. I love being a part of this community. Hope everyone has a great day.
All right, God bless everyone. Talk soon.